Hi, this is Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. In this audio interview, a leading psychologist teaches you how to train your brain to get rid of aches and pains, be more creative, and have the productive life you've always wanted. The body is built to work as a harmonious unit with the brain as the helm as its chief executive officer. So it stands to reason that if we look at how the CEO handles its day-to-day functions, we can improve the quality of the whole team. The reasoning is one of the key principles behind the Anat Baniel Method. According to Anat Baniel, clinical psychologist and creator of the method, our brain functions in one of two modes, learning or non-learning. Most of us only use the non-learning mode. We don't think about how we walk or pick up a glass, we just do it. But in order to be productive, we need to force our brains to stop giving us the same old, same old. We need to ask it to give us a different and better pattern. And in this audio, you'll hear how to spark your brain into giving you those kinds of new patterns. You'll also hear simple, sometimes even illogical ways to strengthen the brain by making mistakes on purpose. You'll learn how to take the sting out of your aches and pains by reducing the force you use on muscles in everyday activities. You'll learn a simple exercise to do to increase flexibility. You'll learn the real secret behind Albert Einstein's genius. You'll learn a quick look at why we age and how to keep your brain youthful and growing. You'll hear examples of how this method is being used to achieve results for disorders like cerebral palsy, Asperger's, and autism. You'll learn one family's journey with cerebral palsy and exactly how Anat's method is helping them see the kind of dramatic results they've never gotten from traditional Western medicine. With this method, being lazy is actually good. Most people simply try too hard to get their muscles, their relationships, and their creativity to do more and more. This is actually counterproductive. If you reduce the effort with which you do things, your brain will be forced to give you a better and easier way. And in this audio interview, you'll hear how to train your brain to give you the most efficient ways possible. Now let's get going.
Hi, this is Chris Costello, and I've teamed up with Michael Senoff to bring you the world's best wellness-related interviews. So if you know anyone struggling with their weight, with cancer, diabetes, ADHD, autism, heart disease, or other health challenges, please send them to Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. So what is the Anat Baniel Method?
It is a method that helps you move more fully into your life, both in terms of your body, like stronger and more flexible body and less aches and pains, and also clearer thinking, more energy, more interest in life, and more creativity.
Dr. Feldenkrais was one of your early mentors. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about what that was like?
Studying with Dr. Feldenkrais was actually magnificent. I started doing his work, not directly with him, when I was about 7 or 8 years old through my dance teacher. And then in my very early 20s, when I was in grad school to become a clinical psychologist, I found him and started studying with him. And it was a remarkable experience personally because I felt enormous transformation in my body. For instance, I used to be a dancer, and anybody who's ever studied dance knows that you do hours and hours of the same movements by the bar and things like that. And when I started doing the work with him, I would do a 45-minute movement lesson, and then I could do things in dance, in ballet, that I couldn't do my whole life. So I realized that there's another way to approach the body to get better outcomes, and also I found emotionally that things shifted for me in very important ways. And then I took a training program with him and got so interested that when I could, I was working as a psychologist and as a clinical psychologist, I shifted over to doing his work, and then over the years I evolved it to become my own method. What I call my method now is the Anat Baniel Method, and I'll speak to the principles that I now ascribe to, some of which, of course, are also the principles of his work. The principles are, first of all, the most important one is that our brain is kind of the CEO of our life. It's the CEO of our bodies, it's the CEO of our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. So the stronger and the healthier and the better our brain is, the better we can do. And everyone, I think, knows that. The simplest example is like if anybody ever drank too much and then tried to use their key to open their front door, and all of a sudden they couldn't quite figure out how to fit the key into the door, something you do daily without even thinking, that's because your brain was a bit off from too too much alcohol. So the brain, we usually don't see it or feel it, but it's extremely important. And with the Anat Baniel Method, I've developed what I call in my book the 9 Essentials to specifically promote the quality of the functioning of the brain. The first essential is movement with attention. So all of us know that movement is important, and really movement signifies life. If we really stop moving, we're dead. But it's not enough to just move or exercise in an automatic, mindless way. Scientific research shows that when we move and we do not pay attention to ourselves, to our feelings while we move, to our movement, our brain doesn't do anything new. But if we start paying attention to our movement, immediately the brain starts forming new connections and looks for better ways to do what we're doing. And we also find ourselves creating new ways of moving and also becoming very creative in our thoughts and in our problem solving. So the first essential is movement with attention. So for instance, something as simple as when you prepare your coffee in the morning, start paying attention to how you move your arm, how tight do you hold your hand. Or if you're a yoga practitioner, when you do some kind of yoga pose, notice how you move, where you could maybe reduce some of the tension. This is the first essential. You can do it in any movement that you do. It doesn't have to be a specific movement. And if you do it like 2-3 times a day for about 2 minutes, you will find out that your body actually starts shifting how it feels. Some aches and pains can start disappearing, and you'll have more energy. You'll have more vitality, because your vitality is associated with the vitality of your brain. So, for instance, if you are sitting now or somewhere and you can lift your right arm, normally we just lift it and lower it. We don't have to think about it. We know how to do it. But then if you lift your arm and you just pay attention to the feeling in your elbow and then in your shoulder, and then you start paying attention to the feeling in your rib cage on the right side, let's say if you're lifting the right arm, and in your spine, and you notice if there's movement there or not, you'll see that most people in the beginning, when they do this, they move the arm and only their shoulder and neck muscles work, and the back and the chest and the pelvis are kind of dead, they're rigid. But once you start paying attention and feeling the different areas in your body, your hip joints, your legs, your knees, they will come to life, and all of a sudden lifting the arm will completely change.
I'm actually doing that right now, and my arm is amazingly heavy. What does that mean?
It means that you're not using enough the rest of your body. So let me, for instance, tell you, lift your right arm again and just see if you can start also reaching a little forward as if you're trying to touch something in front of you. And at the same time, let your pelvis roll forward. Let the back arch just a little bit. And just feel the movement of your arm and feel the movement of your pelvis. And do this maybe 2 times and then stop for 1 second. And then again, lift the arm like this, reaching a little forward. But just feel the soles of your feet, and if one foot gets a little bit more pressure when you do that. And then put the arm down again. And now just lift the arm and see if it's a little bit lighter.
Wow, that's really fascinating.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com, and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.